All right, I just want to share this cool type of therapy that I've been learning about called internal family systems therapy. The basic idea is that inside our own minds, we have internal systems that work in the same way that social systems work, like a family or a workplace or a broader society. And the more that we can be aware of our internal systems, the more regulated and balanced and easy it is to manage stress and all of these sorts of things. So, this is a nice little summary in case anybody is interested. I think it's pretty cool. So basically, in the same way that we think about the different roles that we might play in a workplace or a family or any kind of social situation, we want to try to understand the different parts of ourselves inside our own mind. Now, we call these different parts of ourselves parts. That's just language which, this model uses. It's very similar to schema therapy, which also talks about kind of these sort of like habits of mind, which kind of manifest as almost like a little mini personality. Parts can be put into roughly 3 categories or 4 categories, but it's obviously very flexible and everyone is different. This is just a bit of a rough guide. So the 3 types. Managers is one of them. So this is kind of like, these are the people that like to keep things ordered and in check. So keeping our kind of day-to-day selves functional. So these are just some examples. There can be a million different types, but some common ones are an inner critic, which is basically kind of saying, you should be doing more, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. And it's kind of like keeping us in check, trying to kind of, keep us on track doing things that we should be doing to stay functional. Control freak, so everything needs to be ordered, everything needs to be the way I like it to be, and this makes me feel safe, this makes me feel controlled, this keeps everything running smoothly. Performer or clown, if I distract everyone with how great I am at doing this or how funny I am or whatever it might be, then that will kind of distract them from knowing the kind of the parts of myself that I'm not so proud of. So the managers are kind of keeping the day-to-day running smoothly, so that we aren't exposing our more vulnerable, embarrassing kind of parts. The next one is the firefighters. And so this is kind of like the emergency response. So it's kind of like when things are looking a bit hairy or a bit scary, then these guys come in to sort of like keep us protected, to keep us sheltered. Because basically these guys, the managers and the firefighters, they kind of exist to ensure that these guys, the exiles, stay protected and kind of in their own sort of box. But we'll get to those in a second. So the firefighters are, when we're feeling scared or stressed or under threat or something like that, to kind of keep things under control. So it might be something like a Terminator, like a aggressive, get the fuck out of my way, who do you think you are, like a real back off kind of, I'm going to attack you, you're an asshole kind of part of ourselves. It might be a medicator, which is kind of like, I need to just switch off my brain. I need to have a few drinks, or I need to, eat chocolate until I can't think of anything else. That kind of thing. Or it might be an escape artist, which might be, I just need to get the hell out of this situation as quickly as I can. So all of these things are a bit more knee-jerky. They feel a bit more, they don't feel like quite as, I'm doing this, constantly. It's more of a knee-jerk kind of response to correct a situation. And the whole point is that these guys are trying to keep the exile in a box so that we don't have to feel the exile emotion. So exiles are kind of like the vulnerable child of this model. So we can basically say inner child, vulnerable child, whatever we want to call it. And it's basically the intense, uncomfortable emotions from our past child experiences that it basically feels like those are horrible experiences. We don't want to feel them, so we've got to avoid it at all costs. So these are the kind of the moments in our lives where we felt like we were weird, worthless, strange, crazy, defective, stupid, unwelcome, unaccepted, unloved, all of that kind of stuff. So basically that's the idea. It's basically saying we must not feel this at all costs. So these guys need to operate to kind of stop that from happening. And then finally, we've got the helper category, which is kind of like our inner guides, our inner mentors, which help us through kind of like when we're feeling like this, or to stop us feeling like this. And they sort of fulfill the same roles as these guys, but just in a kind of more healthy, nice kind of way. So it's like our heroes, symbols of values or attributes that we admire. So it might be courage, or it might be strength or perseverance, or whatever it might be. And our healers, which are, people that are kind of nurturing and loving and that kind of thing. Now, the general idea of this model is that you aren't thinking of any of these as being like evil. You're not sort of trying to say, I need to destroy this part of myself. I need to get rid of it. I need to banish it out of existence. It's more like you are trying to understand the subtle nuances of these inner personalities because you trust that they have good intentions. So the control freak isn't just being controlling just for the sake of it. They're doing it because they want you to feel safe and want you to feel comfortable. And so if we can see that side of them, it means that we're more likely to create the environment for them to kind of shine, you know? They're not going to be like all rigid and dominant and nasty with their controllingness. They're going to be, keeping things running smoothly and making things feel good, and it's going to feel much nicer. If we can understand how the exile was feeling at that moment, then they're more likely to not feel that they slip into that habit of feeling like they're weird and worthless and all that kind of stuff. They're more likely to think, yeah, look, I know that that was just a bad experience, but actually I'm okay. The mediator, if we understand that they're trying to just kind of soothe things and calm us down, then we're more likely to be able to say, okay, well, can you calm me down by doing this instead of, making me blind drunk, that kind of thing. So yeah, so that's the idea. We want to understand the subtle nuances of our own unique combination of these and unique quirks of these so that we can feel happier and healthier.